Even now, they see them, glowing bright, drawing near to them. Soon they will be there. Soon they will unite. All worlds will be consumed and become one. We will all be made whole. Being the final form of the necromorph evolution, the Brethren Moons are considered to be the gods of the necromorphs, consisting of both the marker and the population of reanimated and recombinated corpses. The Brethren Moons possess all of the abilities of the marker and the corruption, making them the hardest entity in the known universe to defeat. In this video, we will be analyzing the Blood Moons, their abilities, and their properties. So, sit back and relax while I explain in detail what the Brethren Moons are. So, let's begin, shall we? Despite what many characters may have believed in the first two Dead Space eras, the Brethren Moon controls the necromorphs. Let me explain. In my last video, I spoke on the carrier wave being what sustains the necromorphs, and when disrupted or someone destroys the marker in the area, the necromorphs will fall, turning into an inanimate sludge. While being sustained by them, the markers don't necessarily control them. The moon's master signal, like the name suggests, is a stronger signal than the marker signal, seeming when the marker and biomass merge together, their overall abilities heighten along with the range of them. This is why, despite being so far away and heading in the opposite direction, they were still able to affect Isaac and Carver while the pair were either on Tau Volantis or nearby to the planet. The moons are spacefaring creatures, meaning that they can travel through space in order to get to other planets or civilizations in a short amount of time if needs be. The way their signal works is that it will link up with nearby markers in the galaxy, and the master signal will connect with them, allowing the markers to spread the signal to other life forms or necromorphs. At the end of an outbreak and a moon is born, the moon will launch nearby markers to distant planets. They do not create the markers, however, or else they would have no need to have other species reproduce the monoliths for them. However, the markers are not the sole creators of their own signals, until Convergence has finalized, allowing the marker to reach its full potential with its abilities. Let me explain. The moon's master signal is what stimulates the markers. The master signal is, however, very hard to detect, giving other lifeforms the impression that the markers form their own signal. The master signal is what fuels the markers, which in turn, the markers will be able to conduct its own technological, psychological, and anatomical abilities. Think of the markers as a network tower. The master signal travels and splits off to other markers, becoming weaker as each strand forms out of the other, like a river forming into several streams, and so on and so forth. From here, the markers will, upon activation, become linked with the moon, regardless of its form, hence why the marker shards were able to recombinate the cells of the deceased into necrotized ones. The marker will then spread the signal to nearby lifeforms that contain the blueprint symbols and the genetic code of DNA. It's important to note that by design, the marker's original properties are to sustain the necromorph outbreak with the carrier wave, to safeguard itself with their electromagnetic and gravitational abilities along with the dormancy field, and to finalize convergence so that a new brother will rise. Due to the master signal sustaining the markers as their main fuel source, it will often fool other species into believing that the markers possess unlimited energy, which is only partially true, but only half of a truth. Due to the heightened power of the moons, they are able to conduct an inverted ability. Instead of projecting deceased loved ones back to the recipient, the moons can project a different type of apparition. In the case of Dead Space 3 Awakened, the Prophet's abilities had just been a hallucination given off by the Master Signal. The phrase "make us whole" has always been within most of the Dead Space media. This includes the Dead Space comic, Dead Space Martyr, Dead Space 2, and Dead Space 3. This is the moon orbiting Tau Volantis, of whom is calling for help. Another phrase can also be heard, which is "turn it off." This phrase will occur through visions and apparitions once an individual is within the range of the dormant moon. Make us whole, however, is the call to action towards unsuspecting species, in which it means the same as turn it off, which means turn off the machine within the alien underground civilization and to allow yourself to join in the Convergence event, thus turning the machine off in order to make the transformation complete, aka making the moon whole. The moons are made from millions, if not then billions, of reanimated and recombinated corpses. At least the internal part of the body is, however. The outer layer is comprised of rock, which allows the moons to be protected from the harsh environment and vacuum of space. However, the terrain and bone would protect against most armaments. In the several images of its design, the moon can be seen to possess a giant maw, with several tentacles sprouting from its mass. These would be used in defense and offensive capabilities. With the tentacles being so large and long, they would be able to wrap themselves around entire ships, making the Kraken look like a shrimp in comparison. The intelligence of the creatures seems to operate within a neural network, connecting from the moons to the marker to the smallest necromorph form, and vice versa. However, unlike other creatures in other franchises, these massive spacefaring creatures do not absorb the intelligence from the combined bodies. They most likely learn through other species that come into contact with the signal, as the signal connects with the person's mind, allowing for information to travel back and forth and to leak out, allowing the moons to learn of simple and sometimes advanced concepts. So I guess absorbing in a way, but not like the Flood or other traditional creatures of this kind. Because the moons and markers are connected in this way, when Convergence was paused, the other moons fell into a dormant state, hence why humanity never encountered them before the events of Dead Space 3. The markers, however, were still connected to the neural signal network, so they could manipulate a series of events to free themselves of their icy shackles. However, during the events of Dead Space 2, the gold marker had attempted to finalize Convergence in order to free itself from this predicament. However, due to the connection, Convergence would be stuck in mid-formation. Like a queue, if the first cannot be made whole, then the last surely cannot. The moon's psychological abilities seem to happen in their subconscious state, meaning that they don't have to merely think about using the powers at hand, but rather, like an aura, they can use them even when in a time-lock state. The moon possibly had tried many ways to become free over the centuries, only for those plans to fail, and may have thought that a new brother could set them free, but that plan was doomed to fail. But this is just a theory. Now that we come close to the end of the video, let's address the burning question. Can a moon be killed or destroyed? Well, obviously in Dead Space 3, Isaac managed to kill one, but only just barely, and that one was half-formed. The real deal would be far tougher to conquer, as from what we have talked about, they are very durable and deadly creatures. However, I will leave you all with this. Perhaps the CEC could put those planet crackers to better use, if they could get close enough, undetected, or if they were modified to act as mobile superweapons. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, then give the video a like rating. Tell me what you thought below in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you to all of my channel members for your extra support, which I greatly admire. And if you would like to gain extra benefits or exclusive rewards, just like the others, then hit the join button now to see the free available tiers and see what takes your fancy. Sign up to join the British Alliance today by hitting the subscribe button and ringing in the notification bell to receive all updates to the channel. And I will see all of you among the cosmos, and be sure to have a good one.